I'm Danielle Duval, a gardener with the town of Oakville, and we're here on the traditional lands of the Mississauga of the Credit. Welcome to Ercles Estates. This garden was designed by the Dunnington and Grubb husband and wife team in the late 1920s. So this garden is actually almost about 100 years old. And it's the exact same way. The foundation, the stairs are the same, the rocks are situated the same. What I find most fun about gardening is creating a new space. To explain it, I'm a creative individual and so I need to create. I have to do it. And I love being outside. So gardening for me is a marriage of those two pastimes, my two passions. And so here at the Rock Garden, every year I can change it. I mean, the foundation stays, the shrubs stay, the trees stay, the perennials stay, but with the annuals, I can create a new landscape on an existing one every single year, and it's totally up to me. It's quite magical to see it evolve and grow from these little plants to this oasis behind me. The evolution of it, and I learn so much every year, and I love to learn. I'll never know everything about gardening, which is why I'm in it. We have some seasonal interest plants as well. These are considered tropicals, and most people might recognize this as hibiscus. And it's a tropical plant. We bring it here just for the summer months to add color and texture to the garden, and just kind of make it feel a little tropical in here. We have annuals, perennials in here, um, and we do summer bulbs, which I started last year. So we have gladiolus, which have finished. This is just the leaves that are left over. But we also have dahlias, which is that yellow bloom there and here. They're scattered throughout the garden. That's how I like to design. And when we get to the bottom, you'll see why. Because you'll see patches of color and texture like all throughout. So I kind of call it painting by plants. And you'll see when we get to the bottom, it'll all come together in this sort of mosaic of color and texture and bloom. Because we also have vegetables this year as well thrown in. So it's a little bit of chaos. Maybe it's with the times that we're in. But I love it this year. I think it's the most beautiful we've had it since I've been here. All the years that I've done this, this is my favorite. Um, oh, and here's some more dahlias that we added this year. So they're a summer bulb. So I put them in June, and they're always available at the supermarkets, or Home Depot will have them. And you put them in June, and they're thriving now. They're in their prime. And then they'll go until about late October, and then you can pull them back up in October. Yeah. And they come in a variety of colors, sizes. So the yellow ones are dahlias, the pink ones are dahlias. These are dahlias as well. We have purple and orange from last year. So I kept all the bulbs from last year and we planted them again. Now I'm standing in a patch of Swiss chard, which a lot of people thought was rhubarb because of the red color of the stem. But yeah, this is sort of a rainbow variety. We've been harvesting them, and a volunteer has been taking the goods to the food bank every week. And so that's been amazing because we have lots of vegetables. We have peppers and cherry tomatoes, which are kind of on their way out, and some onions. We had potatoes, two kinds of peppers, corn. We did have corn, but I don't know if they donated it. It didn't really do that well. But yeah, we just sort of experimented with vegetables in the rock garden, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the different things like tropicals, perennials, annuals, vegetables. I think it came together well, and Well, you'll be the judge of that, but I liked it personally. We also have sunflower this year. We have two varieties. So we have the multi-stem bloom, and we had a huge single stem bloom, but they're unfortunately they're done now. Um, but I love having sunflowers in the garden. Just like I don't know, it just makes my day. Yeah, yeah, that's so totally parsley and kale. That's an ornamental kale, so it's not edible. The leaves are a bit too hard. I mean, sorry, rubbery. But yeah, it's definitely parsley, and it's one of the crops we've been harvesting this summer. It's everywhere, but I think it adds a lot of cool texture and that green color, which is nice. You don't get a lot of blooms that are green, but they do add a lot to the garden. Uh, that tower of vine there, that's Ipomia. So it's a cousin to the potato vine, which you see around town a lot in the hanging baskets and that. So it's a blooming, it's called Morning Glory. And I trained it to go up these birch logs. So it's interesting in gardens, you can use a lot of um, structures and fun things like that to grow vines on. And it just sort of adds another element to the garden. And plant we have, which will be cool to show you, is the sensitive plant. And this responds to human touch. So um, this one, you can see it's already retracted its leaves, but if you were to stroke it, it closes. And I think a lot of people don't know that about these guys, but I put them next to the path so that you can interact with them. So if you touch the leaves, they will retract and respond to your touch. And it's like there we go. And in a few minutes, they'll open it once more, and then you can do it again. But I think it's really interesting, plants that respond that way, because this one, it doesn't do that. So it's quite interesting. It's a lot of fun, and you can bring your friends and kind of watch this, spook them with that. I will warn you, there are some little thorns on it, so don't touch like the stem. It won't harm you, it'll just kind of prick you a little bit. But yeah, so there's some little thorns on that, and these guys will open into a nice purple flower, sort of like a ball. They're so interesting, but they are historical because 100 years ago there wasn't YouTube and video games, and so the wealthy, I guess, would purchase these and have them in their homes or in their gardens, and that's exactly what they would do. They would touch it and show their friends and sort of interact with it, and it'd be this exciting thing. So that's why we have them here and in the pots, because it's sort of a special thing. Yeah, and they're considered tropical as well. They don't survive the winter either, so we take them back to the greenhouse. Another one of my favorites in the garden is this plant. He's a tropical as well. He's called ginger. It's not the ginger that you eat, but it is in the same family. And I just love the way they just add so much texture and color. This is the variegated version. There's just a straight green one as well. But they can grow considerably tall, and they just get very lush, and they add a certain element to the garden as well. And they just seem so hardy. Like they can take anything, drought, wetness, and they're great. I just love them. And you'll see that I've put them everywhere. Yeah, this is another. So this is that potato vine I was talking about before, and I believe this is a raven, sweet Caroline raven, and I just love using it as a border. It really adds a lot of texture, especially paired with the alyssum here. That's the crystal clear mix, so it's a purple and white and lavender mix, and I just love how it adds to the texture, and especially next to the broadleaf, it really, like, I don't know, looks nice. Oh, and back here, I don't know if you can see this, but we have some onions, which we'll be harvesting soon. Yeah, so that's been exciting for me to watch them grow and get so big. I can't wait to unearth them just to see how big they got. I think it's a white onion. Um, yeah, and then let's see here. Over here we have uh, some nasturtium, which is an edible flower. That's the orange bloom there. They spread like crazy and they're really easy to grow. I grew some at a different location from seed, and it didn't take, I hardly had to do anything at all, just kind of water it in. They do get a little aggressive, like they're gonna they're trailing, so they'll find any space they can and get in there, but they add a really cool element to it. And I keep talking a lot about texture, but yeah, they add a lot of texture and color to the space. And that's something as a gardener, that's my main goal, is to have a variety of texture, which is leaf size or shape or definition. Like smooth, rough, like there's airy stuff. It's sort of like this fern leaf, like that's a little more airy next to the palm leaf of the potato vine. And along with that, I like to add different colors to a space. So usually working with like cool or warm colors, or in this case, kind of combining everything together, with using white and silver to like sort of transition from one color scheme to another. And then there's also nature benefit. For example, these echinaceas are native. They're called cayenne spirit, and they come when they're in their prime. They're in their like a rainbow display of color, and so they help pollinators as well, like bees and butterflies. And so I like to have those elements in the garden because they're called beneficial bugs, and the beneficials will be attracted by these pollinator flowers, and they'll help eat the negative pests, the pests that you don't want in your garden. So it's sort of creating a mini ecosystem and supporting those insects and their life production, and it helps everything. They kind of create a relationship with one another to help each other thrive. I'll just let you enjoy, take it all in. Gardens don't have to be this big. They can be small, something that you just have at your home, or just, something you have inside. But plants, I feel plants bring us a lot of joy, and, there's all kinds of benefits out there. They clean the air, or they help soothe your mood. They're edible sometimes, some are medicinal. The plant world is huge, and I encourage everybody to get in there and learn something new about plants that they didn't know before, and share them with your friends. So thanks for joining me here on Urchless, on a tour of the rock garden, and I hope you were inspired.